I remember Constantine KK would always talk about, oh, I did sets of 10, like all the way up until he did a max single. Like, holy cow, you did a set of 10 with 85% of your best max? That's ridiculous.
Right.
And then he did a single, and then he was like, okay, good, I'm done. I mean, if we tried to do sets of 10, that'd be just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's a different way to train. And then we invented the cheap method, which was basically do like 10 or 15 for the first couple, and then kind of go single, 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 and then go ahead and hit your rep max, or kind of that max 3 or 5 or whatever it is.
Cheat code,
and then kind of come back underneath, and then try and add a little bit more of kind of the work sets after that. So you can see the people who do take their time and really kind of get things underneath there, because their form and their technique, is better. And again, it's just coming back to the whole hard work thing. I mean, it's not easy to take. It's not always easy to take a 10 or a 10.5 opposed to a quarter plate jump, especially if you're in a group of people. You're all going to be in a competitive atmosphere and kind of go from there. So I actually think personally that's the best thing that Conjugate has really ever did is, set the tone and put an atmosphere and an air of competition all the time in the gym. So I think that's what's really kind of separated that aspect of it. And I mean, people who are doing it alone in a, in their garage or in a, commercial gym, they're missing that aspect of it. And, it's hard to kind of find that extra gear to do that. So, I mean, I think, while it's not impossible, training partners are always awesome. And training partners with something like a Conjugate, type of program is paramount in my opinion.
Yeah, people that are bored of their training and they want to try something new and try something different, I think it's a great way to have something new and something different around, because you get to do different exercises often. You get to try new and different things, and I think people sometimes are so concerned about their training, they're so worried that they're going to take a step backwards. But sometimes you need to kind of go a little bit backwards or go a little bit lateral in order to keep progressing forward. Because if you can find something that allows you to continue to train, and if you can figure out a way to feel good, feel healthy, without having pain in your knee or pain in your hip or whatever it might be, if you can, whatever way you can figure that out, if you can be around longer, you'll probably be stronger, right?
I always call that
hang in there.
It's you don't want to train expensive, you want to train cheap. If you can find these little things that that just like any sort of straight bar tricep extensions, like destroy my elbows to the point that I can't squat the next day and I can't bench the next time a bench workout comes along. But if I do a million band tricep extensions, I'm getting the growth that I need to, the stimulation into the muscle that I need to, and I'm able to squat and bench, the next day. So, kind of finding those cheap little exercises that are going to get things done without blasting you and not allowing you to train the next day. Those are the key little, those are the magic little kind of bullets that you can kind of find that are laying around there. And I think that's what Conjugate to me is really great at, is finding things that mimic a movement, but in a way that costs you a little bit less costs a little bit of costs less on the wear and tear side of things.
Yeah, I remember Rick Husey, he used to say, big lift, little lift. You hit a big lift, you blew it out and you got a big PR in your squat. Maybe on the next workout when it's time to bench, maybe you work on, like, not necessarily just benching less, but maybe your bench workout just looks different.
Right.
So if you handled a PR squat or some sort of PR squat movement, maybe when it's time to bench press, maybe that's where you do try something a little different as your main movement. Maybe that's when you do dumbbells. Maybe that's when you switch to incline bench or something like that. I think a lot of people don't understand your squat can hurt your bench.
Totally.
Your bench can hurt your squat. Your deadlift can hurt your bench. Your deadlift can hurt your squat. They can all hurt each other.
Yep.
And we kind of don't realize it. Like I've heard people say many times, like, "Oh, my elbows don't ever hurt when I squat."
Right.
But it can still, or maybe they don't feel like they hurt when they're deadlifting.
Right.
Well, yeah, because maybe they're just not in a position to where they're actually getting compromised. That's causing pain. But are they getting twisted and are they getting moved in some weird positions? Are you handling large amounts of weight that way? Maybe you don't feel it when you do like a row, because maybe the way the row is set up, or a pull-up, but maybe your biceps are kind of taking over that movement, and so you're not feeling it. But when your triceps go to take over a similar movement pattern, now your elbow's on fire, and you're like, shit, man, what do I do?
Right.
And you can't kind of figure it out. You're like, oh, I'm trying to balance everything out, and that's where maybe using a different bar
Yeah.
might come into play, right?
Absolutely. I was talking to Smokey about it earlier about Sean at our gym. He's having a great training cycle.
Is
and
he really fat right now? That guy gets pretty fat.
He does. He gets pretty
fluffy.
big.
I'm proud of him.
He does. He eats well. He just got like a new grill too.
He benched like five or so in training, didn't he?
Yeah, he benched. Yeah,
Did he do it in meet yet?
No, not yet.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. But
Awesome.
but one of the biggest challenges is his squat. His low bar squat destroys his wrists, destroys his elbows.
Yeah.
So as we're heading into I think we're 10 weeks out of record breakers at this point, which he's going to be doing. I was like, okay, hey man, we got to kind of prepare for the fact that your elbows and your wrists are going to hurt. So anytime that it says straight bar,
Remember, this happens every time.
Exactly. And it was. I was like, hey, you have elbow
Let's not
sleeves,
forget.
right? He's like, yeah. I was like, let's put them on for the squat. Let's put on some wrist straps for the squat. Let's try and make sure we minimize the damage because we're 10 weeks out. We can't accumulate 4 weeks of damage and then you limp into the meet. Let's do everything we can to minimize things as we're kind of going through and, turning our dynamic effort, days on Friday, maybe he just uses the belt squat or something along those lines to keep him healthy so he can keep training, can peak into the meet, and then ultimately can compete healthy once the meet comes. Because if your elbows are hurting going into a squat, they're really going to hurt after the squat and they're really going to hurt your bench press.
Yeah, it hurts like crazy.
Yeah. You always said that your bench was the worst thing for your deadlift.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was also benching in a bench shirt, so it compromised everything. But a lot of people don't understand that, that the arch that you have when you're benching. I'm not going to say that it's bad for your back, but it is a weird position to be in. It's a weird position to try to hold.
Right.
It certainly doesn't feel like just a natural, ordinary position that you would otherwise be in, right? It's an exaggerated position.
Mm-hmm.
And it can put a lot of stress on your lower back. That's why I've always wore a belt when I bench. I don't have pain when I bench. My back doesn't hurt when I bench. But it's to make sure that my back doesn't get all jacked up
Right.
For those other lifts. And also, too, like, why not use knowledge? Why not use some knowledge that you obtain over the years and say, oh, you know what? Those bodybuilders that do the weird benches with their feet up, or Adrian Larson or some of these people, they do these different styles of benches to have different result.
Right.
Adrian Larson, he has whatever you want to call it, a disability, and he's not able to get his legs on the ground, and so therefore he developed really strong arms, and therefore he's got the Larson press, and he shares that with a lot of other people. And people try a variation of the Larson press, but a Larson press or a floor press or just having your feet up like a bodybuilder can just take all the stress off your lower back. So if you hurt your back deadlifting or squatting, or you tweaked it somehow, take 2 or 3 weeks or a month. Take a month and don't put your feet on the ground on the bench.
Yeah.
Is it going to hurt your bench? No, it's going to help your bench.
Right.
Now you might have to pay attention to the weight that you use because now everything's going to be different. You can't use the same percentages. You got to be careful you don't hurt your shoulder, your elbow.
But it's still going to be hard.
I've seen that happen many
Right.
times before, but you're going to save your back. Your back's going to recover, and now you'll be, back to lifting whatever you lifted before, and then some.
Yep. I think Vinny DeCenzo did that for a long time. He'd called it the chair press.
Yeah.
He put his legs up on the chair,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to do that for a long time. I don't know if it was an injury or what
I think it was a knee.
Was it his knee? But he would have his legs up, and he even did it in a shirt. So
Right.
he was benching really, really big weight in a shirt with his legs up, which is just horrifying to think of if you've ever been in a bench shirt. That's just the stability
feel
and
wobbly.
balance. It has to be awful. On a good day, a bench shirt feels, wobbly and about that it's going to fall out of your hands at all times, let alone not having your legs on the ground too.